What is a voiceover slate? When do you need one? When do you not need one? And most importantly, at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can use a slate to actually book more voiceover work. Good morning. So glad you're here. Welcome to the Voiceover Huddle. My name is Bill DeWeese. I'm a professional voice talent. I've recorded over 10,000 paid projects over the past 17 years and have been coaching hundreds and talking to thousands of voice talent like you over the past decade, helping you become profitable or more profitable in your voiceover business. And so glad you've stopped by this morning. We're going to talk about voiceover slates. But before we do, quick reminder, subscribe. That way you get notifications when I go live. And make sure that you share the video. And to find out more about my training, my voiceover blueprint training in particular, go to the description below and click the link. Yesterday, I talked about eating the elephant one bite at a time, taking baby steps to get toward the big goal. And I talked about how I used to do a lot of distance running and ran some marathons and how that was my mantra. Just, how do you do this? How do you run 26.2 miles? Well, you do it one step at a time. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I've used that in all areas of my life, including my voiceover business. And just to let you know that I do my best to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. I went out yesterday. As I mentioned, I'm on a journey now toward trying to get back into good physical condition to be able to run again. And so yesterday I went out and I walked 5.5 miles in freezing rain. Yeah, it was freezing rain here in southwestern Ohio yesterday. And so I did my walk in that. But here's the thing, there's never a good time or a convenient time to do anything. Well, there may be some convenient times, but my point being is it's never going to always be great for you and convenient. So you've got to develop the mindset that, okay, I'm not going to wait. It's like, starting a diet on Monday. Well, I'll start on Monday. Well, no, you won't. Or you may, but then you won't stick with it because the reality is you're not ready to go through the inconvenience. And hey, believe me, I'm not judging. Trust me, I've been there plenty of times over and over again. But it never, if you're waiting for it to be perfect, if you're waiting for conditions to be good, you'll be waiting perhaps for a lifetime. So yesterday, I didn't want to go out. I did not want to go out in that freezing rain. But I thought, if I wait for it to be convenient for me, I'll never get stuff done. It just won't happen. So I bundled up. I went out and I slogged my way through that freezing rain. And today, guess what? It's snow covered ground. So my plan is to go back out and do it again. Do I want to? No, I'm not excited about it. But what I want the end result. And sometimes you've got to be willing to pay the price to get to the end result. So today, let's talk about a very specific thing that comes up in voiceover. It's called the slate. Perhaps you know what it is. Perhaps you don't. Maybe you haven't even heard the term. And if you're new at this, maybe this is a whole brand new thing. So let me start by explaining what it is. A slate is what is often done at the beginning of an audition, although not always. And by the way, again, I'm going to share with you a little strategy at the end of this video to help you get more voiceover work with your slate. So hang around for that. But a slate is when you identify yourself within the audition. It could be, the audition starts, and it could be Bill DeWeese, 2 takes, saying how many takes you're going to do. Now, where does the slate come from? The slate comes from the days of auditioning for agents. So a client could more easily identify what agency was being represented by that particular audition, who you were working with, to make sure that agent got credit for that job. So if you came up in voiceover a number of years ago, if you've been around for a while, a slate is not an uncommon thing to do at all. As a matter of fact, there's been a trend I've noticed. And again, I don't do a lot of agency auditions anymore. I do some, but not as much as I used to, just because, again, you can go back and watch my earlier videos where I talk about, do you need an agent or not? Most of my work comes from my direct marketing. Some agents will want you to put it at the end of the audition. But here's the thing. First of all, what is it? It's when you identify yourself or how many takes and how many takes you're going to do on the audition itself. Could be at the beginning. It could be at the end. First of all, never do, generally speaking, a slate is when somebody, if they ask you for a slate, give them a slate. Oftentimes there will be directions on how they want that slate given, at the beginning or the end, what they want said, what they don't want said. If they ask you not to slate it, you might want to consider not slating it. Because here's the thing to keep in mind is that the longer somebody has to wait to get to something, the more impatient they become. So let's say, for instance, if they're listening through 100 auditions or 200 auditions, they don't want to hear you rambling on at the beginning. If you want to do a slate, you do it quickly, you get in, you get out, and you move on. Now, personally, I only use a slate, number one, if I'm instructed to do so. And or number two, I'm going to be giving multiple takes, which, by the way, I think is a good strategy to try to always give 2 takes if you can. A 3, possibly. More than that, probably a bit too much. But I like to do a higher energy version and a lower energy version. The reason I like to say at the front, I never give my name. I put my name in the audio file. There's no need to give your name. I'll just say 2 takes. And the reason I say 2 takes is this, because if they listen and let's say perhaps they like what they hear, but not for that job. And I don't want them to go to they've got 99 more to listen to. I don't want them to move on without knowing that there's going to be another opportunity, another take that they might like. So that's why I like to say there's 2 takes, which I try to do as often as I can. I want to make sure I say that up front because they may say, okay, you know what? This guy's fine. He's okay, but I don't like it. I don't like him for this. But if I say 2 takes, they'll think perhaps, okay, well, maybe the second take is something that we can use. And so oftentimes they'll listen to that second take. So it's a strategy to keep people hanging around, for the second take to let them know that it's there. Otherwise, they might just keep moving on. Because again, listening to auditions is like it's like scanning the radio for a radio station. If you listen, no, 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 no. Yeah, maybe, no, until you find what you want. So they're not meditating and spending a lot of time on each audition. It's a process, and the process typically would go pretty quickly. Here's your strategy: how to use a slate to book more work. Keep this in mind. People, we're wired to make quick, judgmental decisions. We tend to categorize things. We like to, sometimes it's at a subconscious level. What we see, what we hear, what we experience, we make quick determinations. Sometimes that's, maybe it's useful for us, but when it comes to people, obviously not a good thing. But sometimes it's at a subconscious level. We just make determinations before we really have all the information. So here's the deal. When somebody hears your slate at the beginning of the audition, which is where I would put it, again, if you're letting them know there's 2 takes, it doesn't do any good to do it at the end of the audition. But what they're going to be doing is they're going to be, whether they want to or mean to or not, at the very least at a subconscious level, they're going to be making judgments about your audition before they even hear the audition, based on the way you say the slate. Even if all you say is 2 takes. In their mind, they may be thinking too old, too young, too high pitch, too low pitch, too high energy, too low energy. And you're not even at the audition yet. So when you think about it, it's ridiculous to make that assumption, but we human beings are wired to do that. We do that. So that being in mind, when you do your audition, read the audition like the same style, the same emotion, the same point of view, the same frame of reference as you did your best read in your audition. Same style, because if not, you could totally blow your chance. Because if it's totally different, again, they're going to assume that what's on the audition is basically the way you say the slate. So say the slate like you do the audition. That will increase your chances of winning the audition, or it might hasten them to move on to the next one if you're not right for that job, which is okay too. No issue with that. So use the slate when you need to use the slate, when it's helpful to you, when it's beneficial to you, and use it to get more work when you possibly can, by understanding that the slate needs to be read in the style of your actual audition. Otherwise, you're sending the wrong message right up front. Thanks for being here this morning. I always love it when you guys come to the huddle, and I appreciate it when you let me know what your name is and where you are watching or listening from this morning. So let's just do a quick little roll call to see who's on. Let's see here. Hey, Mark in Albuquerque, Melissa in San Diego, Derek in Kennewick, Washington, Steve in Bucyrus, Sandra in Dallas, Fort Worth. Hey, Ty, cold Warsaw, Indiana. Hey, Craig. Hey, in Wichita. He says, sorry about those Bengals. Thank you, Craig. Hey, look, good morning to you in Ankara, Turkey. Good afternoon, I should say to you. Janet in Florida. Hey there. Miss Johnny is in Houston, Texas. Neil in Fairfield. Steve in Chile, Oshkosh. Patrick in rainy, drizzly Maryland. Gretchen in Adrian, Michigan. We've got Remy in Tulsa. Good morning. And Burr, says Rusty in the UP of Michigan. I can only imagine. Theo, top of the morning from the roomy lower level of the train headed into Chicago. Scott in Dayton, Philip in Tokyo, David in icy Louisville, Mike in El Paso, Kevin, New Jersey. 5.5 miles in freezing rain. He must be training for a boxing match. Well, let me tell you something. Sometimes life feels like that for sure. You got to be ready to take the punches. Toughen up. Tess says, always glad to be here from Tequila, Georgia. Cycling was always my thing, originally from California. I remember, it's funny, I used to love to cycle when I was younger, in my teenage years. And I remember, like going out and doing like a 50-mile ride was not like it wasn't a big deal. Oh, to have those days again and that kind of body and conditioning. Michelle in Indianapolis, 12 degrees here. Yikes. Eric in Richmond, Texas. Greetings from the mighty Olympic Mountains. Bob says, good morning, Professor DeWeese. I haven't been called Prof. DeWeese for many years, Rob. From Blue Angels winter training in El Centro, California. Awesome, and I hope it's nice and warm there for you. And honestly, I don't even know where El Centro is. I don't know what part of California that's in, but I hope it's nice and comfortable for you, Rob. Hey, Bruce in Louisville. Randy, what's up? Another member of the VoiceOver Blueprint. I think I've seen like 4 of you guys so far. I love it. Doug in Indianapolis. Susan, good morning to you in New Jersey. Chad in Daytona Beach, Florida. Hey, Mary in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Another VoiceOver Blueprint member. Let's see here. We've got John in Rhinebeck, New York. Says, thank you for your daily stream. Thank you for being here, John. Mariella in Costa Rica. Galen in Cincinnati. Just recorded your first commercial. Hey, fantastic. Congratulations. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Luis in Oxnard, California. Going to Los Angeles in my truck, but want to quit this and do VO. Awesome. Hey, Jolie. Just another VoiceOver Blueprint girl. Got to get a job playing a woman in her 20s. Well, got a job playing a woman in her 20s, and I announced my retirement yesterday. Have a sound session with Alex today. Thanks for all. And by the way, this is a great time. Congrats, Jolie. I think that is fantastic. I'm excited for you. And that is a video in and of itself. Somebody who just retired got booked for a job in her 20s. What does that tell you? Think about that. Hey, Mike in Philadelphia. This felt like Motivational Tuesday with your opening message. Love it. Oh, let's see here. Medina, good morning to you in Staten Island, New York. John in Frozen Fort Wayne. DJ, good morning to you in Northern Michigan. Scott in Yuma, Arizona. Doug in Greensboro, North Carolina. Dan in Milwaukee. Jonathan says, ta-da, hired by Microsoft this week. Hey, Jonathan, that's fantastic. So excited for you. Way to go. Dan says, do you have a Facebook group for me to join? Yeah, I would love to have you in my private Facebook group. And the reason for that is because as I work, I stream live into that group. So you need to be a member of the VoiceOver Blueprint, though, to have access to that. So go into the description below, check it out, click the link, get all the info. Jim's in Southwest Florida. Hey, Matt. Has been added to a list of freelancers with a company that one of my old college roommates works for. Hey, that's fantastic. Way to go. Way to hustle. Dr. Bob in Clearwater, Florida. I sang in Nigeria. Hello to you today. April in Manitoba, Canada. Let's see, 13 degrees in St. Louis. Yee. 2-hour drive east of San Diego, Rob, is where you're at. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, chilly and rainy yesterday. Very unusual weather. Luis, love you, Bill. Thanks for the shout out. Hey, thank you. Maddie, at work, but finally made another live session. Good morning from New York. Good morning, Maddie. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much for being here. Make it a great day. I will see you first thing tomorrow morning.